Hey everybody, Elsword KR had a little PvP tournament this last Friday, and I'm here to talk about it, talk about the more interesting points of it, and talk about the new characters coming out, because there was a new trailer drop, well, a couple of trailers dropped for the new character, and a little bit of gameplay. So, let us start with the tournament. It started off with some lady singing. I'm not sure what she was singing about, who she was, but it seemed interesting. She seemed like a really good singer, so there you go. Then we went to the tournament. It seemed interesting, I suppose. It was 2v2, and for some reason it was up to 8 kills. I don't quite know why it was up to 8 kills, but there you go, it's up to 8 kills. And then, get to the good stuff here. We get to the new character, Laby. Laby looks pretty cool, doing some weird things. She doesn't wear shoes for some reason, but I guess who cares? I'm not really fond of her aesthetics. You know, I've never been a fan of the, like, little girl kind of trope character. But whatever. New character's interesting. But yeah, no, we actually got a little bit of gameplay here. So let's look at it really slow. But it seems like she's actually a brawler type character, a character that back in the day people were really wanting a brawler type character in this game, like a brawler, or some games call it a fighter. But I know we have Rena who kicks and stuff, but Laby's actually out here punching with weird purple effects, and it looks pretty cool, like kind of fun. Some other details about her: she actually auto awakens when you completely fill out her beads. I'm not sure what that means, but we can see here her awakening animation. So there's still an animation for her awakening, just like normal, but it seems to happen automatically. I'm not quite sure what that means. Like, would that interrupt your combos or your gameplay? And right here, it seemed like she just did it. So maybe they used a potion to get her 3 beads, or I don't quite know how that will work, but yeah, she automatically awakens when you fill out her beads. So let's look at these combos a bit more in depth. So, interesting startup animation. Walk cycle looks fine. The punches, looks like the punches have quite the hitbox and super armor. If we slow it down a bit, look, the third hit has super armor on that uppercut. Now, fighters or brawlers type characters in these games, they definitely have a lot of super armor to back up the fact that they have to be super duper close range, and their hitboxes are not as big as like somebody with a sword, because swords are pretty long, or somebody with a gun because bullets go far. So I'm not surprised that even base Laby has super armor, but I can see how this would get annoying because super armor is very strong in this game especially. So we'll have to watch out and see how that goes. But the hitboxes look honestly pretty big. Obviously her arms are small, but the hitboxes look big. Some super armor there. Here we see the auto awakening, but she wasn't hitting anything, so the fact that it auto awakens again makes me think maybe they used a potion or something, because they detailed the fact that she auto awakens. So I'm not sure. It looks like she uses a skill here when she dashed forward, or maybe that was just her dash attack. I honestly doubt that's her dash attack, but maybe it is. But she kind of dashed forward with the super armor move. I think that's probably an active, like a weird uppercut thing. Here we see a double jump. Now, here's the thing, guys. Mobility is a big thing in this game, because for PvP mostly, but for PvE too, you know, for dodging attacks. But having a double jump, very useful. This looks like an Aura-esque double jump, where they leave a pool of like where they jumped. And then after that, we see like an Eve-esque dash forward, honestly. But more of a dash, or maybe like a Aura-ish too. But I would say more Eve. So she has not only vertical, but horizontal range with her movement. So that's really good for a character like that. And here we see what I assume is her X attacks. I think maybe her Z attacks are the punches, and the X attacks do with the mirror, Nisha. So there you go. Then we get to see a skill using Nisha. So this skill dashes Nisha forward on the ground, and it binds any of the enemies it doesn't kill in this kind of vine, like blue vine trap. So that will be interesting. It seems like it's obviously it's a base skill. This is still base Laby. So that might be really good depending on how strong that is, depending on how long the vine keeps you vined up, and like what kind of binding is it. Are we talking about like binding you can mana break? Are we talking about like the Diabolic Esper binding with Void Field? Are we talking about like Black Massacre binding with Chain Snatch. Like, there's a lot of different binding skills. What kind is it? Here we can see her getting hit, and she uses some type of escape maneuver, it seems, when she's knocked down. That, or this is her getup kind of move. It's an Aisha getup, maybe. It could be a skill, or it could just be her getup. But it looks like right when she's knocked down, she just teleports away. So my assumption there is that it's an Aisha-esque teleport getup. So she seems to be like the best when it comes to like all these maneuverability things. Like probably not as good as like, probably not as protective as Chung, but definitely as agile as like an Aura, or like movable. Maybe not as an Ad. Like probably doesn't have as much movement as an Ad, but as much as an Eve at least, which Eve still has really good movement. So Laby looks pretty strong so far. Also, again, her walk cycle looks really dumb. I mean, the run cycle. But I think that's the point of the character. I think she's supposed to be a little doofy. A little goofy. She has no shoes. So maybe she's supposed to be like, oh, person raised in the wild. Something weird like that. Anywho, along with the Laby just new skills and stuff, you'll notice in all of this gameplay we see of Laby, these dungeons don't exist right now. That's because Laby has her own story and her own dungeons. So first of all, what does this mean? First of all, this means Laby is not a plot hole in the plot. A lot of people wondering about that because she came from Fida, or she like starts out in Fida and just like, oh, how come they didn't meet Laby before? It's like a plot hole. No, Laby is not a plot hole. Laby has her own dungeons. She goes through her own areas, and even some of these areas look familiar-esque. Like the first one, obviously, is Fida, an area of Fida we've never seen, but it still looks like Fida. This ship obviously looks like the Hemel ship. Maybe she goes in after the L gang. What's after this? It might be Fida, or it might be Ruben, but different enough. This place looks really interesting because this looks like the place where you fight Javaki, and this place is, I think, Ara's hometown in the story. But it looks similar to that. It might just be the waterfalls and the bamboo that's making me think that. But there you go. So Laby has her own dungeons, her own story, her own NPCs even. She has her own NPCs, new bosses. A lot of these bosses look really doofy, especially the first two. The third one looks pretty interesting, I suppose. Kind of looks like a mishmash of a bunch of different elements. But it's cool. It's cool that a new character has all this new content, because I'm going to be honest. Whenever a new character comes out, it's always like, alright, let me run the same dungeons over and over again. I gotta go from Elder to... to Fida, to Hamel. You're just like, okay, let me just see the new skills, let me see the new stuff. We have to do all this old content. And it also kind of dampens the story a little bit, because Rose only comes at the end of the story. Ain's part in the story is like, oh, he was here all the time, but we never remembered him. It was kind of like, okay, bit suspension of disbelief there. But it's cool that Laby has her own stuff, and I think that's really cool. These NPCs look interesting. But I really like how Laby has her own stuff. Big ups to that. The next thing about Laby, we get Laby's first job here. So this is what Laby's first job looks like. She kind of looks like a dude, like pulling a reverse Chung here, I suppose. But this is more about her fighting style, more of the brawler type fighter character. Only the first line will be available. 1206. So the 6th of December, she's coming out in KR with her first job. We don't have a name for it, but things to note. The mirror, actually the edges of the mirror are different than base Laby. So I think when it comes to customizing it with costumes or like different weapons and stuff, the outline of the mirror will change, but I don't think the inside will. Or maybe the inside might change. Who knows, but looks nice. I like the look of the mirror, or I think it's called a core. I'm not sure, but I think to me it's a mirror, unless they rename it to something else. I'll call it a mirror. So there you go, Laby's first job. We haven't seen any skills or anything with it, just the design of the class. But we do know what the next two classes will be. Well, there's the fighter character, we just saw. The character after will more have to do with the mirror, Nisha. And then the third class, the third path, will have to do with her summoning some type of thing. It's very vague, but the third path will be about summoning. But yeah, that's Laby, more or less. That's what to expect from Laby. She's coming out on the 6th, I think. Yep, the 6th of December in KR. So what does this mean for us? So usually we are 2 to 3 weeks behind KR. So if she is coming out around the 6th, that means we will probably get Laby around the 19th or the 26th of December. So I'm curious to try out Laby's dungeons, honestly more than Laby a little bit, because the mirror class isn't out yet. But that's pretty much all I got for Laby so far. I think she'll be a good character. She definitely has a lot of movement options already. We already saw some super armor. Movement and super armor, some of the most amazing things in this game. The auto awakening honestly does not seem that good, but we'll have to see it in action to see how it works. And if there's obviously anything else about her system that they didn't go into detail with, we'll see when she first comes out. But I think it'll be an exciting time. It'll honestly be an exciting time. So, is there anything else besides Laby? Yes, a little bit more things besides Laby. We got a UI change, actually. We got to change the base UI. And, man, let me tell you, this looks fancy. Like, I am all down with this. This looks amazing. Looks a little, for all you Persona fans out there, looks a little, you know, let's just say we never saw this update coming. Anyway, yeah, new UI, it looks amazing. I can't wait to have it. Love it, love it, love it, love it. Also, the Chung webtoon is out. I think a lot of other characters already have theirs. I know Elboy, Aisha, Raven definitely has one. Lu and Seal had one when they came out, but here's Chung's time to Chung's time to shine. Excuse me. There you go. If you want to read it. It definitely seems like they're putting a lot of manpower into the new release of Laby, and I think it's going well for them so far. I hope the other characters don't get like shadowed off by Laby, because there hasn't been that much content. Like, the closest thing we had to new content was New Get at Darkness, and it's not even that new. So I hope there's like other things for other characters, because they had to make Laby's classes, they had to make Laby herself, they had to make Laby's dungeons, and like make Laby's NPCs. So it probably explains why we haven't had a lot of content in a while. So I hope once Laby kind of comes out and Laby settles in, we'll get more things for everybody else, more or less. But that's it for this video, kind of like updating, talking about Laby, talking about this event. Tell me, what do you think? Do you care about Laby? Do you want to try out Laby? Which class would you play if you made a Laby? Even if you aren't going to make a Laby, tell me which class would you play. Would you play the class that's more the fighter, the brawler type? Would you play the class that's more about Nisha, the mirror, doing those kind of attacks? Or the third summoner class? I'm not even sure what that has to do with Laby, but maybe it has to do with, maybe it's like similar to like Eve's, what was it? Code Empress? Code Essentia? Summoning creatures like that, maybe? But yeah, there you go. Laby is coming out on the 6th of December. That is this week, so we'll see a lot of new gameplay. I can look into that if you guys want to, if you guys want to hear my opinion of that. But that's pretty much it for me. I will see you guys later. Laby looks interesting. Can't wait to see her gameplay and everything like that. But that's all from me, and I will see you guys